So I'll start off, I think, with a little cube, you know, the little cube that we did together actually.
Yep.
So it's quite a bittersweet moment, really. I am selling this as a concept piece, a one-off, and you can click the link in the description and first come, first serve. Okie dokie, welcome to this new video, which is largely an update on this beautiful little low-tech nano cube. It's been set up now for almost 6 months now. Yeah, coming up to 6 months, so very, very stable. I do have to occasionally thin the algae out. I'll get some green stringy algae, which I take out with tweezers occasionally. Other than that, almost zero maintenance. Top it up with rainwater. Clean the glass if needed, doesn't need much cleaning. The shrimp are breeding, and it's just a real joy to live with. And the reason you probably clicked on this video because of the thumbnail, quite a high impact thumbnail, and yeah, I guess it's story time. So I've been doing a lot of thinking, a lot of soul searching lately, and one of the big questions I have for myself, and I guess we all do at some point in our lives, is who are we? Who am I? And you ask myself this question, who am I? And the immediate answer is George Farmer. Well, that's just a label, isn't it? Just a couple of words, George Farmer. What does that mean? You know, who am I? What do I do? Well, I do aquascaping, and I do being a father and a stepfather and a husband, and lots of other these roles that we perform, don't we, in society, these personas that we have. And strip it right back, you know, who am I? And there's definitely something around aquascaping. And farming, you know, my name's Farmer. And I come up with this concept of the scape farm. And I guess this is a funny way of saying this is what I do. You know, I create aquascapes. That's either through video content, photography, writing, podcasts. And the overall aim is to hopefully educate people on how to create beautiful aquariums. And as my own journey has evolved over the years, I've come to realise I was more geared towards the consumerism of the hobby and growing things quickly and achieving these levels of perceived high impact beauty, but at what cost? And like I say, I've been doing some soul searching and spent some time with other styles of fish keepers, such as James Knock. I had a really great video with him. Check that out if you've not watched that yet. The 10,222 day old aquarium with the same gravel and plants. That really, you say, blew my mind a lot, probably overused, but it did really change my mind. You know, a mind once changed never thinks the same way again, you know. And in a kind of very convenient foreshadowing, I guess, that one of the reasons I wanted to create my own low-tech tanks is because it's an area of the hobby that I have very little experience in, and I'm curious to learn more, and I'm a curious kind of guy. So that was the motivation. And I noticed there's a lot of other creators out there doing similar things, but I really wanted to give it a go and keep it running in the longer term to see the results for myself. And here we are. The results do speak for themselves. It's a beautiful little tank, and it's for sale. I am selling this as a concept piece, a one-off, and you can click the link in the description and first come, first serve. So thanks to Aquarium Gardens for supporting this little project, and who knows, depending on how it's received, I can create more of this style of aquascape for sale, or maybe bigger ones, who knows. You know, going back to the who am I, I'm an aquascaper. I create aquascapes to educate people, but also to, you know, why not sell your works of art? You know, what I think I do, I think it's hard to argue the point against aquascaping being an art form. I strongly believe aquascaping is an art form. It's a very complex, three-dimensional, ever-evolving, organic art form which combines so many elements, genres, styles, ways of working, methods, techniques. But the overall thing that we're doing, or what I'm trying to do, is sell aquascaping effectively to hopefully the betterment of the person that's consuming the aquascape or actively working with an aquascape in terms of planning it, designing it, creating it, maintaining it, consuming it, photographing it, sharing it. You know, aquascaping is such a vast topic, goes beyond topic. It's a way of life, you know, and I am an aquascaper. I create aquascapes and I sell aquascapes. So if you're interested in buying an aquascape that I've created, that I've maintained over the last few months or so, then click the link in the description and you can buy this. I'll just give you a quick rundown of what is actually in it so you know what to expect. It is plain gravel with some nutrient capsules in there to feed the plant roots. So it's not fancy substrate at all. I've tried not to disturb it. So the mold has accumulated. There is cyanobacteria building up on the glass, but that's okay as long as it doesn't come above the substrate level. The cyanobacteria is a sign of anaerobic bacteria, which is a good thing. You need a balance of anaerobic and aerobic for the plants to be able to break down those nutrients and use them. So don't be afraid so much of cyano in the substrate. So that's the substrate, and then plant-wise we have some Marcellea crenata, or minuta I think it's called now. We have some Eriocaulon Vietnam, which is staying really small and stunted, which I quite like. A couple of stems of pearlweed, that's the Hemianthus micranthomoides. I can put some more in here before if the person wants some more. It is a weed, really good for biomass. Some Nubius minicoin, Nubius petite, Leucophalandra red, and the main plant is the Limnophila sessiflora, or the Ambulia, which is by far the biggest biomass. This is what's keeping the aquarium relatively algae free. Like I said, there is some green string algae in here, which depending on your taste you can thin out every week or so. I leave it every couple of weeks, and eventually it should form a complete equilibrium and you shouldn't experience that algae, but you probably have to wait a few months because this is the nature of the low-tech system, you know, which I've learnt a lot about lately through actual experience, but also through speaking at length with people like James Knock, Aquatics by Nature.
If you leave it long enough, it'll develop its natural state and it'll function as a natural ecosystem.
I will be hopefully letting this go, and you know, it's a beautiful process. You know, I've really enjoyed creating it. I've had the joy of watching it grow, maintaining it, creating content around it, and the most importantly for me, learning from it. You know, really learning through genuine experience, through failure, through accepting that I don't know everything at all, know nothing, and just leaning into that curiosity and open-mindedness. To the point now where it's stable enough, I would suggest to give it away to someone that's willing to do a little bit of work on it every week or so, and happily to train the client, the customer, the partner, whatever we wish to label them as, the consumer, have a one-on-one session with them in my home to talk you through how I would maintain this and we would have an agreed amount of time where I would be on hand to give you advice over a WhatsApp chat or FaceTime or whatever. So the scape has been maintained by me, and it's always, if I do a rescape, it's always quite sad to have that scape be destroyed, you know, and this way the scape lives on forever potentially, you know, and I think that's a lovely thing. So we create the work of art, and then the work of art goes to the person who's going to appreciate viewing the work of art, but also appreciate the maintenance that goes in to keeping it looking as they wish. So there we go, that's my video on selling aquascapes, and going all the way back to the original idea of who am I? I am the scape farmer. That's who I am at this present moment.